Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Game week 5 is kind of in the books. We've had 9 of the 10 games, but obviously James and I wanted to hit you with, another prediction for game week 6 because we do have midweek right now. So just want to give a quick kind of revamp of the week so far. I'm 4-5. James, you're 2-7, mate. What happened? I mean, you talked about fine margins, but maybe you can talk a little more about that because
I'm 2-7.
2-7 so far this.
So it is fine margins, fair enough.
It's madness. But what it does mean is we don't have to go through another video with me only being led by 1 point. Some movement has been made. I
gotta catch up. I gotta catch up with you.
You got to do something because the thing is, I'm not covering myself in glory right now either. I'm 4-5 this week. Obviously, I've picked Manchester United in that Leicester game, as have you. So James, that leaves me. I'm 4-5 this week. You're 2-7. I'm 23-26 overall. You're 20-29 overall. But obviously, we still have that last game to go. Moving right along though into game week 7. And James, we start off hot. Merseyside derby at Goodison Park. Who have you got in this one? Because Everton, they got to do something. Who have you got?
Jack, I feel like we go Merseyside derby. Oh, Jack, in the past few years, Jack, it's been Liverpool left. I think Liverpool won the last 10 or something like that. It's been ridiculous. And actually Liverpool, there was 3 seasons where 3 games they managed not to pick up a victory, but the majority of the time, especially under Jurgen Klopp, it's been very, very, very dominant for Liverpool. Goodison, it doesn't really scare me at this moment of time. I'm going to say Liverpool win the game. Let's go 3-1 Liverpool, Jack.
I got 2-0. I think you're exactly right. I think this could be a Goodison, this could be at Anfield. I don't think it matters at the moment. There's a class difference. I think, again, you have that huge Bournemouth win, and then you have that kind of 98th minute, even though there was only 5 minutes of added time, winner for Liverpool. That needs to be investigated. But anyway, I got that as a 2-0 as well to Liverpool. Next up, Spurs home against Fulham. I'm going to take 3-1 in this one. I think Spurs kind of maybe bucked the trend a little bit. I'm not going to be too surprised if Heung-min Son maybe is on the bench, or maybe there's just a little bit of a shuffle around from Antonio Conte. West Ham are a good team, so I mean, I don't think Spurs should feel too upset with withdrawing that game. But again, I think they'll be back to winning ways, back at home, 3-1 against Fulham. Maybe Mitrovic scores early in the first half. What have you got for that one?
Again, Jack, I'm going to copy your scoring there. I'm looking back at the history again. Tottenham been in control in the past few years when it comes to this game, and I don't see, like, Fulham have been really good in the Premier League. Breath of fresh air. Mitrovic, Jack, a serious candidate. He's going to be in the running for the Golden Boot this year. We've seen what he did in the Championship. If he can get 20 in the Premier League, Jack.
Maybe Reiter's player as well. I mean, it's probably going to go to somebody like Haaland, but in terms of, he's really kind of silenced the critics to a certain extent. I know we're early on, but still.
Again, I'm going to stick with 3-1 Tottenham, just like you again. I feel like I haven't been that impressed with Tottenham the way everyone else has been. But I just feel at home, I just see them getting the victory. Every time I predict the Tottenham match, I hope I'm wrong. Especially when I predict them to win. That's the time I hope I'm wrong.
Moving right along though, mate. Nottingham Forest at home against Bournemouth. Who have you got in that one?
This is the first time they've ever played in the Premier League, Jack, and this one is a bit of a championship type match in the Premier League. Bournemouth just sacked their manager. Maybe they might have a honeymoon thing, but I'm gonna say 2-1 Nottingham Forest.
I got 2-0, much the same reasons. Again, Scott Parker shouldn't have been fired. It's absolutely ridiculous. Scott Parker won the only winnable game he had. He had 3 games which he had no shot at winning and didn't win any of them. His comments about not having a competitive Premier League squad are absolutely correct. And I think, it's just the height of arrogance for the owners to sack him just after, differences of opinion in terms of where the club was going. I think Scott Parker's making a very, very good point. This club can't compete in the Premier League, so stop expecting me to compete in the Premier League. Anyway.
But what's the point of getting promoted then? That's the only question I have with these football teams who come into the Premier League. What, you come in, just get the parachute payment and get the parachute payment once you go down? It makes I don't understand how it works. You should do your best to stay up and even compete to get in the top half if possible.
Well, look, I totally agree with you. And again, either the ownership's deluded or I don't know, but hopefully Scott Parker gets another chance, maybe a championship team, but maybe a struggling Premier League team as well. Those Villa jobs and Everton jobs aren't looking too secure right now. Moving over though to West London, Chelsea are at home against West Ham. James, I'm going to kind of take a little leaf out of your book here. I'm going to stick my neck out here. I'm going to say West Ham win this one 2-1. A little bit of an upset on the cards there for Chelsea. Who have you got in that one?
I don't think it's sticking your neck out, Jack. If I'm being truthfully honest, Chelsea have shown this is worrying time. I said to my brother, who's a big Chelsea fan, listen, you had the best time of your life under Roman Abramovich. The next 10 years, it's our time to China, because damn, it hasn't been looking good from Chelsea's point of view. Let's see what happens with Samaka. I agree with you. I don't see Chelsea win. I'm going to go for 1-1 in this game.
1-1. I'm not going to lie. I know calling draws is very, very tricky, but I think that's one that you might have there. I'm a little scared on that one. Moving right along though, James. Still in West London though. Brentford. They are welcoming Leeds into town. Who have you got winning that one?
Brentford, Leeds. Now, I think this game last year was one of the biggest games for Leeds because they had to win to stay up.
Right.
And they came up bigger. I also think that they got a last-minute winner. The last two games they played against Brentford, they're undefeated. I know it's only 2 games. It's not that big of a sample size. But, Jack, I think Leeds are good enough to go to Brentford and win. So I'm going to say 1-0 Leeds.
I'm just going to purely go based on the fact that I think Brentford is becoming a tough place to play. They've really created a really cool, positive atmosphere at that Brentford Community Stadium. The likes of Ericsson coming back and featuring in a football match for the first time. That was a really special moment, kind of, I think, in the history of football. Welcoming some giants to that stadium for the first time and beating these teams. So I still think that Brentford at home are a tough proposition. Leeds, though, dangerous. So this is going to be a tough one for me. So I'm going to call this a 1-1. I know calling a draw is always tricky, but I'm going to go 1-1 in that one. Wolves at home against Southampton. Wolves have finally signed what seems to be like a decent striker replacement. I'm going to absolutely butcher the name. Kalazjevic, I think his name is. It's some crazy Eastern.
Don't ask me, Jack.
It's okay. Some crazy Eastern European game, but from the times that I've seen him play, he's been very, very dangerous. He's been linked with a number of big football clubs, and again, they got him for a nice fee. He's a young, hungry striker. I don't know if he comes in right away, but I think the Wolves have quietly had a really, really, really nice transfer window, and I think that will work well. Southampton, again, I expect them to be plucky, but like I've said from the get-go, unfortunately, this is going to be another one of these South Coast teams where I just get the feeling that over the course of the year, they're going to drop and drop and drop. These are going to be relegation candidates for me. So 1-0 to Wolves on that one in a tight game. Who have you got in that one, James?
In the last 6 games, Wolves are unbeaten. They've won their last 3 against Southampton. Again, with Wolves, I told you the sort of power that they have. The big question for us when it comes to Wolves is where are the goals going to come from? But I see everything coming together for Wolves, and I'm going to say 2-0 to Wolves.
2-0, nice. Okay.
Also, fair play to Southampton against Chelsea. As much as we say they're relegation candidates, Jack, they showed that grit and that ability in big moments to come up big. So, as much as we say they could go down, they definitely have the ability to stay up.
Well, guys, I'd like to think as well, people watching at home, I'd like to think that, you realise how competitive the Premier League is this year. James and I, we are under 50% in calling these right results. The better team is not always winning, trust me. James, moving right along though, Newcastle United, who again, I think we're unbelievably unlucky to not get something out of that game against Liverpool. They're going to be at home, but they're facing another tough opponent in Crystal Palace. Who have you got winning that one?
Jack, this is a tough one to call. I'm going to say this is because Palace are the draw specialists, and it always seems to be a thing where when they're in control of games after getting the big goal, like we seen the reaction from Zaha after scoring that goal. They let it slip. This is a game here where two quality teams with great qualities. If like say Maximin's fit, that's gonna be great. And obviously Wilfred Zaha there as so many nice pieces in Isak coming on today, showing he was insane today.
He looks built for the Premier League and just built for this level.
I'm gonna say 1-1.
I'm copying you. A couple more goals for me. I'm going 2-2, mainly the reasons that you mentioned there. I think that Newcastle are an up-and-coming great team, and I think that Palace are an up-and-coming great team. I think with the right investment there, you've got the right manager in place. There's some stars and some talent in that Palace squad to continue progressing and developing. So, yeah, 2-2 for me there. It's not going to surprise me too much if that's a 2-1 Newcastle, but I'm going to stick with 2-2 and back Palace to get the extra goal. Aston Villa at home, but coming to town, unfortunately, are the rampant Manchester City led by Mr. Erling Haaland, who is just absolutely unbelievable. Guy's an absolute monster, just devastating to play against. All these rumours, I believe the Telegraph reported that a lot of coaches for Premier League football teams are calling one another and just being like, right, how do you try and get success against this guy, trying to help each other to go up against kind of the common enemy? You know, what is it? The enemy of your enemy is my friend, or whatever the expression is. So, like, you know, James, it's going to continue. I got 4-0 at Man City. Maybe not a hat-trick for Haaland, but a brace. Yeah, why not? You know, at this point. So, yeah, 4-0 for me. Who have you got in that one? You are taking the mick at this point.
As much as I want to do it, Jack, and I want to switch that coin, that guy Haaland just has me. Even if they go 2-0 down, Jack, I still see them coming back and winning this game. I'm going to say 3-1 Man City, with probably maybe Villa taking the lead and Man City coming back. Haaland just eats, Jack. I mentioned to you when he first signed that Mo Salah's record is under threat. And I really did mean that. And with 5 games gone, Jack, 9 goals in there. I tweeted today he could score 40 Premier League goals, Jack. And I don't think that's anything past him, because he's scored back-to-back hat-tricks and we're acting like it's nothing.
The only thing that's stopping him, I think, is injuries. And I think that Man City staff and he himself will now have learned his lessons, maybe from the past. Maybe it's a diet thing, maybe it's a training thing. They're going to keep him covered in cotton wool and make sure they don't risk that at all. So again, I think he'll be able to keep on the straight and narrow with that one as well. James, moving though to the South Coast, Brighton and Hove Albion versus Leicester City, who are obviously still yet to play Manchester United. You had Leicester City losing to Manchester United the week before. How do you think they'll do against Brighton?
To be fair, I mean, looking at the head-to-head, Jack.
Top 4 Brighton, by the way.
I know. Me looking at the head-to-head tells me Leicester City, this is a good fixture for Leicester, but this is not the Leicester of years gone by. It isn't as confident as they used to be. I'm going to say, let's go 2-1 Brighton.
2-1 Brighton. I got 2-0 Brighton. Yeah, again, I think whatever Graham Potter's saying to these players, they're buying in, they're believing it. Excuse me, they're seeing the outcome on the pitch as well. And I think it's just going to keep going. Leicester, it's all doom and gloom. Sold Fofana, that's fine. You know, I look at somebody like Yuri Tielemans is entering the last year of his deal as well. You know, transfer window, you know, we're kind of loading up to that being finished here pretty soon. So unless there's going to be some movement there and some reinforcements brought in at centre-back or midfield, this is a Leicester team that's way worse off than they were last year. So, yeah, Brighton going to keep on moving. Big one to finish us off, James, as I'm sure you are well aware. Manchester United at home, coming to town. Top of the league, Arsenal. Now, I'm going to go first here. I got Man United winning 2-1. I think that Eric Ten Hag, some way, somehow, you know, Manchester United, I think, are going to be a team that are built for moments, and I think that they will succeed at home in moments. James, if this is at the Emirates, I might take Arsenal 4-1 or something like that, but purely because it's at Old Trafford, purely because of what I saw from that Liverpool game and the corner supposedly that this team has turned. This might be the wake-up call potentially that Arsenal need to just settle them down. not fly too high, not fly too low. But like I said to you, James, very similar to the Liverpool game that when we did that game week prediction. Can I see Arsenal winning this and blowing Manchester United out? Absolutely, I can. I think Gabriel Jesus is going to give that defence absolute nightmares. We'll see what happens with Casemiro, etc., etc. But to me, Man United squeak by in a game where maybe they get a lucky penalty, maybe some decisions go their way, as I'm sure you're well aware of in Manchester United and Arsenal fixtures of old. Who do you have in that one?
Old Trafford is not a great place for Arsenal. I remember 2 years ago, Arteta got first win for Arsenal since 2007. A place where bad stuff has happened from Arsenal. Our 49 unbeaten run ended there. So many bad moments. The 8-2, even when we're on our absolute highest, it just seems to crash down at Old Trafford. It's never ever been a good place for us, if I'm being honest. I remember the year Manchester United had everybody injured and somehow a young player called Rashford scored 2 goals and stopped Arsenal from winning the title. So it's never been a good place for Arsenal. But I like to think this Arsenal team have a bit more ball at this moment of time. That's my biggest thing. They've just come back from 2 devastating blows from dropping, going 1-0 down against Wolves, and obviously getting an equaliser from Aston Villa, but still coming back and winning, which is a big bonus to us. I think we can go to Old Trafford and at least get a point there. So I'm going to say 1-1. The winning streak will end, but I like to think the unbeaten run will continue. I hope.
Hey, you can never rule it out. And seriously, James, I do not feel confident about my Man United pick on that one. My goodness, not at all. Guys, let us know your thoughts. Like I say, sorry to come at you so quickly with another prediction video, but guys, they are trying to cram the Premier League down your throats because we've got this World Cup starting in November. So we got a game every 3 days for some of these Premier League teams, which is why they keep banging the drum for these bigger squads, water breaks, a bit more kindness towards the players and their own levels of fitness. Scroll down, please like the video if you like what you've seen. Put your own predictions in there because we want to see how you guys do. Me and James are not doing so hot at the moment. We want to see if you guys can do any better.
I'm not doing so well.
While you're down there, make sure that you hit the subscribe button as well. Check out our Champions League group stage predictions, though. That just came out as well. James, anything else from you, mate?
Guys, please hit that like button, comment, tell me your predictions, and me and Jack will see you next time.